Hello everybody, so today we are doing something a little bit different, something I've never done before. So you'll see behind we have a IBC on the trailer. Today we are playing spray bowser. So to a lot of you this won't look like a spray bowser, but it's as close as we got because we've never needed one before. So what we are doing today, we are spraying off 3 fields. So there are 3 fields on the block of rented land, and I said last week in the cubicle bedding video we were going to make a big announcement, something exciting or something big and different was going to happen this year, and today is the first step of that. So once these 3 fields are sprayed off, they're going to be ploughed, and the fodderby stubble from last year at home is going to be ploughed, and all 4 of those fields are going to be put into spring wheat. So we are going big time corn farming for this year. Major reason for that is feed costs for next winter are going to be off the scale. So we're kind of taking advantage a little bit of losing some cows, losing the TB cows, where numbers were a lot lower than they were last year, or than they should be. And we are not going to restock to the full capacity that we were. We're going to keep numbers a little bit lower and try and produce more food from our own area and buy in as little as we can. So that's the reason for the wheat. Spring wheat, we've got the seed, we've got the weather, so today is spraying. It's kind of the first step. So we have got on our trailer, we've got our spray. So this is glyphosate, or Roundup is kind of what it's commonly called, but this is a different variety, I don't know. So it's called Rattler. It's just what we bought, you know, it's the same kind of stuff. It's going to have the same effect of killing off all the grass, ready for ploughing and putting the wheat in. Spraying is not something we show a lot on the channel. We do a bit, we do all our own spraying, but we don't do a lot. You know, we're nearly all grassland, so there isn't a great deal of spraying to do. But what does get done, brother does it all, and that's kind of the reason I don't feature it very much, because I don't do it. I do have all the required legal training and certificates and all that kind of thing, but I don't have the experience simply because I don't do it. So that's why he does it all, and it all gets done right. Yeah, so that's why we're just putting some water about, and he is doing the actual work. Probably the biggest challenge we're going to have this spring in drilling wheat into what was grassland. If you remember last year in the fodderby, we planted it very, very late because leather jackets were a problem. So leather jackets always, you know, they live in established grassland. So the field at home that was fodderby last year, there won't be a single one in there. They just don't live in anything other than grass. So that won't be a problem. The 3 fields here potentially could be a problem. So we have a spade. We are going to dig a little hole in a minute, and 1 or 2 holes round about, see if we can find any. We overcame it last year in the fodderby by drilling in early June, and there was absolutely no yield penalty for being a good 5-6 weeks late. Potentially we could have drilled it, but there is no option to drill in June. It has to go. We are middle of March now, and it has to go now. So we're going to have a dig around and see what we can find. So all the fields behind you can see, or in front of you, behind me, they've all been spread with slurry. So that is going to be next week's video, simply because I'm not going to have time to edit it. It's quite a complicated edit with lots of different cameras and quite a lot of footage. And talking about feet, yesterday I damaged, well, I twisted a foot, so it's held me up. You know, I was going to edit last night, just couldn't do it. So this will be this week's video. Slurry will be next week's video. So the videos are coming out backwards to how the work happened, but it's one of them things, you know. So all got to be done. Right, so let's have a little test dig. Not with that foot. Try the other one that doesn't hurt. Right, so here's our upside down turf. You can see we've got a nice big, got lots of worms in it. Plenty of moisture, but then that's what we would expect for this time of year. What's that there? That's a slug. He's no help, but that's not what we're looking for. So this is where the leather jackets will be, in the root zone, because that's what they live on. You know, they eat the roots. Now when they're eating roots in this established grassland, the grassland can cope. But when they're eating fresh drilled seeds and the roots are tiny, there's just no reserves within the new plants to cope with it, and they just die. So can't find any at the moment. Anyway, here's a sprayer coming and we're messing about. We better get on. Right, so I'm sure there's going to be a few questions about the sprayer. It is a Fraser Agri Buggy. They were made, I don't know, in the 80s, I guess. I think they're still about, much modernised. You can still buy them. But those early ones, they were made out of I think it's a Ford Escort engine, diesel engine, Land Rover axles. And then obviously Fraser made the cab and the frame and bought in. I think the sprayers are bought in. But if you look at it, it's got those massive wide tyres on. There's no weight in it. You know, there's no weight in the frame of the sprayer. It is a true low ground pressure machine. And you know, with those tyres on, it will pretty much go anywhere. And not mark the soil. There is also has a set of row crop wheels for it, so they will be coming out in the summer. You know, to protect the crop during the growing season. So I think that will do for today's video. Kind of the introduction to this year's exciting news. So don't forget to subscribe, follow us on our little arable journey, because obviously we're going to be planting it and spraying it and looking after it for the summer. And then later on at harvest time, some of you will have already worked this out, we're going to get the old combine going, because we've got to do some combining, haven't we? So there you are, you should be subscribing, you know, and then you can watch the whole year's growth. So I will say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.